I like to always, when it comes to the uncertainty topic specifically, kind of leave people with a few ideas for things they can do differently to help themselves and their teams. And these are sort of just like kind of concrete things you can do. And when I say assume everyone's in a threat state, what I really just mean is don't think that just because someone isn't actively expressing that they're in trouble or they're having difficulty, don't assume that means they aren't, for all the reasons that are kind of obvious, right? I think it's much safer these days to just assume people are not okay. Because generally they're not, and then informed in how you think by that. We have to be very proactive in connections, especially with people who work remotely, because they are more isolated. They do feel less included. That's always been true. It's not a function of the pandemic, but now that more people are working that way, it's even more of an issue. I think encouraging people to share their uncertainty with you is important. And often leaders balk at that. They say, I'm not going to bring everybody together to talk about all their questions because I don't have answers. And it's like, no, you need to bring them together to talk about all their questions. Even if all you can say is, I don't know, but that's a really valid question. And I share it. I share your concern. That actually does a ton to help people actually feel better and feel validated and feel like you're being transparent, which is incredibly important. And getting back to the question of what can leaders do, like transparency, it becomes very, very, very important. And one of the ways you can be transparent is to put yourself in these uncomfortable situations and allow people to ask you things you know you're not going to know the answer to. By the way, I was a university professor for years. I'm constantly asked things I don't know the answer to. Believe me, it's not a big deal. Like, you get used to it. It's not a thing we need to be afraid of. I think avoiding rosy language when that's not how people feel is important. So sometimes we can, like, in our enthusiasm to make people feel better, we can just go like, oh, the change is going to be great. That's not how they feel. So a better way to do that would be like, I know that all of this change must be unsettling to you and alarming. I know that it has been to me. But when I think about this for myself, what often helps me is thinking about sort of like our larger purpose and like what it is that I'm really trying to achieve. And I think what we're trying to achieve as a team. And that really helps me. See how that doesn't sound like change is great. It just sounds like, well, I meet you where you are. But then I try to orient your thinking in a way that's going to give you more of these positive energies, which is going to help you and all of us. And then I think the self-care and energy management, energy both in the sense of the 5 energies we're talking about, and also just energy, like the energy to get up and do a thing. Like, we need to have boundaries. We need to be taking care of ourselves and taking steps to replenish. And I think that's never been more important. And if you are in a leadership position and you can be very vocal about the things you do to care for yourself and replenish your energy, that is very inspiring and contagious to other people.